If y'all have watched my channel long enough, you can tell that I'm an animator slash artist who makes videos and talks about like cartoons and stuff. That's kind of my thing. But what inspires me to do all these things? Like, what inspires me to make these cartoons and like work on them and believe that this is good? Well, it all started from a quote from Stan Lee himself. So, from what I can gather, Stan Lee just so happened to be at UCLA to give a speech to students because it was their graduation ceremony. And so, Stan Lee decided that he was going to make a speech that would actually be relevant, not like a 5 page essay about, like, just stuff. So, instead, he told the students the story of Spider Man. Now, if you're a die-hard Marvel fan, I'm sure you all know the story of Spider Man and how it came to be. But it's not really about the story. Well, actually it is. But it's more about the quote that Stan Lee gave. So without further ado, let's get into it. But for those of you who don't know the story, Stan Lee was asked by his publisher to make him a new superhero for the comics. And so Stan Lee was in his house one day working on a superhero, and so he saw like a fly on the wall, and then he thought, if he had a superhero that could go on walls, it would be kind of cool. And so he came up with a few names, but he then got to Spider-Man. But he stuck with it because he knew that this was a good idea. And so he went to his publisher, told him about the story of Spider-Man, but the publisher at first told him that it was crap. So the reason why is because it's a spider superhero, which makes sense, like I'm scared of spiders. But I still like Spider-Man, so like, how does the logic ensue? And also, another reason was that he was a teenager, but that was something that Stan Lee wanted to do, because back then there weren't a lot of teenage superheroes than there are now, like Danny Phantom or Sonic or, And so, yeah, around that time it was different, so his publisher thought that it wasn't going to be a good idea, so he told Stan Lee that it was no good. But then at one point, there was a comic called Amazing Fantasy, and apparently it was gonna die anyway, so Stan Lee decided to publish it into that comic so he can get it out of his head. Then 2 months later, I believe, that's what he said in the speech, he said that his publisher came and told him that they should do a series on Spider-Man because apparently he loved it so much after it was in the comics. Just goes to show that even in real life, people will say one thing and do another. Just like that. But what was the reason for this speech? Why did Stan Lee decide to give a speech about Spider-Man at the UCLA graduation ceremony? Well, because he said this.
If you have an idea that you genuinely think is good, don't let some idiot talk you out of it. That doesn't mean that every wild notion you come up with is going to be genius, but if there is something that you feel is good, something you want to do, something that means something to you, try to do it. Because I think you can only do your best work if you're doing what you want to do, and if you're doing it the way you think it should be done, and if you can take pride in it after you've done it, no matter what it is. If you can look at it and say, I did that, and I think it's pretty damn good. That's a great feeling. So don't let idiots talk you out of something that you think is good.
Dude, are you crying?
No!
I gotta say, this is an inspiring quote. Not just for me, but for others. Anyone who will hear this video and watch it will feel inspired enough to do anything that they want to do, and they will never give up on what they want to do. Not only do I like the quote, but I also like the story, because even though Stan Lee was told by someone that his work wasn't good, he didn't give up, technically. But that's just the thing, like, just because somebody says that your idea is bad, doesn't mean that it's actually bad, They're not you, so they don't know how the idea is gonna be. Only you know how your stuff is gonna turn out to be. If more people have this mindset, we could be able to achieve things that we didn't think were possible. Think about it. If it weren't for Spider-Man, we wouldn't have teenage superheroes in the first place. We wouldn't have all these Spider-Man movies, plus the 2 Spider-Verse movies that have inspired millions of animators and artists. All of this because of one guy. Which is why this clip from Spider-Man 3 actually makes sense.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that Stan Lee proved that anything is possible if you work hard enough. And I like how you clarified that it could be anything. It doesn't have to be like animation or just, it could be anything. Literally anything. I remember one time I watched it with my dad and he too felt inspired. Like the video was for him, which proved my point that this video can be for anybody who wants to do what they want to do in life. Any goal they want to achieve, any dream they want to come true, anything that they want to succeed in. Anyone can watch this video so they can feel motivated enough to keep on going and do better at what they do best. But I guess because of this quote, it's the reason why I try to keep going with my animations, you know? Because if one person could make a difference, then who says nobody else can? Maybe thousands of people could make a difference, especially in the animation industry or just in the world. Anyone who wants to do something that they want to do, then they should do it. Well, that's going to be it for today, folks. If you like this video, please like and subscribe so it'll help the channel, and be sure to watch some of my other videos. And remember, if there's any dream or goal that you want to achieve, then you should do it. You won't know unless you try.